But last up we have the view from Maha, and I'll just bring her presentation up. Good evening, everyone. I've spoken a lot about juvenile should dieback plenty of times before, and so I thought I'll give a bit of a roundup on this information this season. So it's more complicated than we think it is. So I still stick to this hypothesis which I made when I started this position on abiotic factors and orchard management components. So I've listed plenty here. So it is important that we go through different aspects to be able to find, I wish I found a solution, but it's far from over. But the thing is, it's not limited to any of these abiotic factors or any of these orchard management components. But luckily this one was done. Pathological causes were investigated and it was not deducted, at least until now. And coming to the economical, assessing economical impact of the industry is again very important because of this young age. If this is going to happen during the growth period, then it becomes really hard to train and get proper yield, and it's not just affecting ongoing year but also at least another 2 more years down the track. So it is more complicated than we think, which results in dieback. I personally have narrowed it down to the whether during dormancy and management practices during past and the present time to play a major role. So temperature, which is really important, relative humidity, solar radiation and rainfall, and they interact with irrigation, fertilizer management, which of previous year, and oil application, which again is very important, and tree nutrient and water status. Again, there is a perfect combination of something here which eventually results in dieback, but we are yet to determine what it is. And this year there was a bit of dieback observed in Sunlands. It's gone out. And Bakery. Bakery is in Richard's Orchard and Sunlands is in Rob's Orchard. And Rob's Orchard in Bakery does not have dieback. I'll explain that in a minute. And this year it was weird to see some sort of variation in juvenile shoot dieback, which again I'll show you as we progress. And low temperatures, they play an important role. It's not just freeze temperatures at a particular point of time, but again it comes down to how many number of days less than or equal to 0, how many hours less than or equal to 0, and how low the temperature was and what frequency that low temperature occurred, so and when. So everything plays a role in determining the freeze damage, but so it's not just one thing at one point of time. This is just digging into 2 sensors which I have in Richard's Orchard and in Rob's Orchard, which are less than 5 kilometers away. This is just to highlight the import or summary to show the importance of how diverse the locations are. Even if the distance is only 5 kilometers, you can see I just summarized here the number of days less than or equal to 0. Look at the difference. And number of hours less than or equal to 0 in this number of days, and when it actually occurred, and what is the temperature range. So that is a lot of difference for a distance of 5 kilometers, a straight line. and when did it occur? And so, and autumn freeze is something which is spoken of most of the time as being the reason for dieback. But again, I don't see any commonalities, because Richard had dieback this year, but Rob did not have. But looking at the summary, so I cannot say that there is this particular reason which caused dieback in Richard's orchard than in Rob's orchard. Unfortunately, I don't have a sensor in Rob's orchard in Sunlands, so I couldn't get the temperature summarized or investigated. And so this is again Symphondorfers versus Louis, and this year it's been, again I'll get to that, the weird juvenile shoot dieback variation which is seen this season. It might have occurred before, but this year I saw that a bit serious. And again, this is a straight line distance of 3 kilometers. However, this is just how varied that can be. So, and there was autumn freeze happening for 1 day and 2 hours, but whereas they were in just a distance of 3 kilometers, there was nothing here. So it becomes so important that, and this is Rob's orchard, and as you can see, it had freeze during autumn, but however, it was end of autumn, May. So this is just to highlight how orchards such close distance of 5 kilometers can vary in terms of the chill accumulation. I was just interested to see how many hours less than 7.2 degrees in 2 orchards which are at a distance less than 5 kilometers. Can see that one of the orchards has always had higher hours less than 7.2 degrees, and say for example in here there is a difference of about 30 hours, while chill accumulation, I mean dynamic chill portions, it's the opposite. So it doesn't mean that having more hours less than 7.2 will guarantee you more dynamic chill portions. So it is reversed here completely. So, and there is a difference of 4 units in this particular year where there is 30 hours of less than 7.2 degrees centigrade. So why I'm mentioning this here is it is really important to have some monitoring happening in localized monitoring of temperatures, because it is very valuable. And this was possible only because I have the sensors in these locations, because that will come handy to investigate when dieback happens or whatever happens. And this is the normal dieback symptom which we were talking about so long, and this year it's these are the pictures from Sunlands near Bakery. And this was a bit of severe incidents there. But however, coming to this weird type of symptom in Symphondorfer's orchard, we can see some sort of poor growth, and I don't know what we can call this as. So it may be juvenile shoot dieback variation, and or maybe temporary dieback or zombie shoots, or because they don't want to grow, they are still sitting there doing nothing, but they are not dead. So the dieback shoots are completely dead. Not when I say completely dead, they are dead from tip downwards up to a particular point, and whichever buds are alive, they start growing. But this particular one, they are not dead. The shoots are not dead. They are still alive. The tip is alive. The side, every bud is alive, but they don't want to grow. And I'll show you. So this is a bit. I observed in Bob's orchard in Renmark as well. So the tips are growing, but then they don't want to really shoot up and grow. And that's another video too. Oops.
Will they grow the following year?
They just get lower. That's right.
Sorry, just a second.
Nah, sure.
How do you get that?
This year.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Will they grow the following year if they're left?
They are growing. I'll show you some of.
You know what I mean, grow properly.
We don't know. We
This
don't
was
know
a few
how.
weeks ago, so they're apparently growing okay here. So.
Yeah,
We've had them in other years too. I just wondered whether it's happened in other years with
So this is a bit weird because they do grow, but definitely there is loss of growth because they are stunted. And going into so much into the season, this is again in Sinfandorfers. This was taken on 24th of October, as you can see. By 24th, it's a month, more than a month after flowering, so it should have been like more than this growth, but still like, and it's a bit weird because the whole row is affected, and the most interesting thing is the whole row is affected here, but the adjacent row is grown normally, and that was.
Did you spray that with oil, James? Or was it-
Yeah, we did. We did.
Yeah. So oil spray is one of the important things which causes sort of all these variations, and according to James' information, I think it was sprayed on a calm day, I suppose, and I'm not sure what sort of thing this one results in. And yeah, so the whole row shows some sort of these zombie shoots, and whereas the adjacent row is good and healthy. So this is again on 24th.
Excuse me.
And
Thank you, Maha.
24th, and then followed, after maybe more than a week or 2 weeks, it's still sitting there doing, but it's not dead. So that was really weird. Everything is alive, the tissues are alive, but that's not the case in the normal dieback where the tissues are dead. That this is again 12th of November, they are still trying to grow and they are like that. But even 12th of November, they were still flowering, both male and female. That was a bit weird too. But then there is a lot of buds which were lost, like there are buds which fail. So there is potential loss of yield or yield loss. But yeah, this appeared a bit weird for me this season, which was very different from the normal dieback. So where do we go now with this dieback situation? This is definitely a combination of events, and it is more complicated than we think. And the problem here is it's hard to replicate because we do not know what combination brings up this sort of symptom. And therefore, this sort of multidisciplinary approach for investigation is required. As and when it happens, we've got to collect as much details or data as possible, including weather, and that's why I encourage people to have their own weather station or sensors so that we can go back into that and get that data to be able to investigate. And as I said in that graph, hours less than 7.2 not necessarily give more dynamic chill portions. So we've got to just have a mix of both to understand what works best for pistachio. I think it needs more work to be done or investigation to be done in that aspect as well. So it is more likely abiotic stress, mostly drought and frost, and management practices, water, fertilizer, O is missing there, sorry, and oil application. And there is an imbalance in sugar, starch, which is nothing but non-structural carbohydrate imbalance happening there. So it is some sort of a weird combination which when perfectly happens, it results in dieback, but we are yet to determine that. And until then, what we should not do, avoid oil application at or immediately after low temperatures. So around low temperatures, just avoid, or followed by spike in temperature and solar radiation. The other thing is reduce nitrogen from January, or nitrogen is just necessary to maintain healthy leaves. But then more nitrogen after January, they're going to just keep pushing new shoots rather than accumulating in the shoot for better carbohydrate accumulation. Because carbohydrate dynamic becomes really important in the plants, how they respond for the next season. And avoid fertilizer application close to or post-harvest, because if there is once harvested, there's no sink, and so whatever fertilizer is applied, it sits in the soil, not much is taken by the plants, and then it's pushed down beyond the root zone by the next season when they become really active. So again, that becomes no. And what we can do is keep up the soil moisture level and plant water status during winter, autumn and winter, because we think winter or autumn they are dormant and we don't need to apply water, but the tissues are still alive, and there is so much happening during winter, during dormancy time, because a lot of mobilization of carbohydrates happen during winter and towards the end of winter. So it is important to keep the tissues hydrated, and if there is no regular rainfall, it's important we apply water and keep the tissues hydrated, because there are researches which show that when the plants are stressed for drought during winter, they probably exhibit this sort of shoot death during spring and following season. So avoid water stress and keep them hydrated around winter and autumn, and keep potassium, calcium and zinc nutrient levels. Again, there is no consistent results, or I can say inconsistent results between looking at the nutrient analysis of tissues. So there's no conclusive thing I can say, but in general, keep up the tree health. And I wish to, these are the, try to replicate the situation, but that didn't work in Kylite and bakery, spraying at less than 5 degrees, but you can't manipulate the temperature after or before, so that's the best I could do, but yeah, thank you.
Are there any questions of Maha on that?
Yeah, Maha, did you find this year, see it was cold this year, was there more dieback or you don't know?
That's why I summarized those temperatures.
Yeah.
There is no, like, for example, bakery, Rob and Richard's orchard, they are less than 5 kilometers away. Rob doesn't have any dieback, while Richard has.
Well, Lake Power don't have much on Zara Lane, but Lake Harper Road they have.
Exactly. And so there is something more than just the temperature. So temperature, I'm not ruling out temperature, definitely it has a role. But however, there are other things which are playing a role as well. It's more, that's why I said it's more complicated than we think, because there are plenty of things playing. So it's important to look at the soil moisture levels, and if you have soil moisture sensors, that will be great to dig into and investigate. And these symptoms which appeared this year was weird because the shoots are alive, but they refuse to grow. I assume that Kylite had the same sort of symptoms.
Yeah, we had a little bit of that, not a lot, but we actually sent away shoot samples this year in the spring of the same trees, of branches that had that very much delayed shoots and ones that grew the way as you would expect. And there was a very big difference in the sugars and starches, the non-structural carbohydrate.
Okay.
So I think that's one area to focus on. What should we be doing the year before to ensure that all branches on the tree have got good levels of non-structural carbohydrate.
Yeah, that's true. I tried to analyze tissues from Simpfendorfers because they were the same, they were not growing properly, shooting up and growing. But then it was not consistent with other orchard results, so I couldn't I mean, it was inconclusive. So that's why I didn't present those results, because it didn't make any sense for me.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's got to do with application of oil. I watched one property next to me, they're both side by side, they want sprayed a bit later. He sprayed on a windy day and the shooting of it is terrible.
Yeah.
One side, if you've got 4% solution, one's getting 8%, the other's getting nothing. When you start thinking, yeah, that's a big difference. That's where the problem lies a bit, I reckon.
Yep.
Just from what I've observed, and this year it was particularly bad.
How many people had it how many people had dieback this year?
Oh, not Dieback, just the late shootout in Young.
Yeah, how many people actually had dieback this year? No one.
I've got it in my...
Yeah, no, there are two people with whom I know who had, Richard and Sunlands. So they have dieback. But it's not like too severe. Sunlands was a bit severe, but Richard's is, I wouldn't categorize that as very severe, but they were shoots of dieback.
Like we had,
But that was normal dieback, not this late zombies.
we had dieback, but then the shot out at the end of it.
So it's not dieback.
It's not dieback.
It's not dieback.
Yeah.
Dieback is
Yeah,
dead.
it's a bit
Right?
of that.
This is not dead.
A little bit of that.
You're talking about two different things between this dieback and this zombies. But Ian, this year it was relatively a few orchards that were involved, but there were some severe cases of young shoot dieback. And I think...
Dieback or
So?
this or dieback?
No, not the zombie stuff. I mean, there was dieback. I think you had dieback again. No, you didn't have any this year. Okay.
I had that, but it was oil failed, yeah.
Yeah, sure. And David's right. If you don't get... Oil works because of irritation of a bud. If you don't get perfect oil application, it doesn't work. Right? And this year was, I mean, the end of August was bloody windy.
Windy.
It was just
Yep.
right across the growing area. The end of August was just terrible.
And if the whole tree's shot, except for the ones that you didn't spray with oil, there's no energy left in the tree
Yeah, sure.
supply those late shooting
Yeah,
buds.
and don't forget this year, particularly in the Riverland, you had low chill, so you really needed the oil.
That's right.
Right, where Sunraysia wasn't too bad for chill. It was not great, but it was sort of but Riverland this year and chill was in, I think chill units were 54, 55, something like that.
Yep.
Very low. If you didn't get the oil on properly, you're in trouble. And I'm not terribly surprised by that uneven. But the young tree shoot dieback is a serious problem, has massive economic costs, and I think, as Maha said, we still don't know what has done it. We're going to continue to work on it. We're using multi-variance. I can't remember the term, but it's very important statistics, and we're going to try and do that.
Yeah,
So are there any
because
other
it's very
questions of what Maha's presented today?
Maha, the one image you had up there of a single row impact, and we've had a little bit of similar to that years ago. That really suggests a cultural influence,
Yep.
whether it be spraying or irrigation. There, when you think about it, spraying or irrigation are probably two of the main things that could influence a whole growth. Not likely pruning, because it's the same across the row. So
That was completely weird, and that's why I kept on digging into, the information from James about oil application.
Yeah.
Because I thought maybe the whole road didn't get proper oil coating, but yeah, it's fine, but it didn't work. Unfortunately, the whole row was like showing dieback. Fine, it's not dieback, but yeah.
Zombie. I think your word zombie is really good.
Came
Are there
up
any
with
other questions for Maha? Okay, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Maha for the contribution she's made to our industry for the last 2.5 years, 3 years?
3.5 years.
3.5 years. Time flies when it's been so much fun. Maha, thank you very much, and we wish you very best of your future career. Maha has been working very hard to do proper handover and continue with your work, as you've you've just seen what she's been doing on this Dieback project, and Shoaib is looking forward to sitting down with her on Friday at some length, and Maha has indicated she'd spend some more time with Shoaib over the next couple of weeks. You'll be getting up early from Perth. Well, it's 3 hours. So Maha, on behalf of the pistachio industry, I'd like to thank you for your contribution to the industry.
Thank you.
And I hope that'll cheer you up.
If I may please say, subject I can talk on top of my head, but this one I need a piece of paper to be able to read out. But yeah, thank you. I wish to thank PGAI for the opportunity to work in this position. My special thanks goes to Chris, Joyce and Trevor for their great understanding and help and support for my initiatives and ideas. All the growers, thank you for sharing your feedback and requirements and supporting my initiatives to benefit research and wider industry for the present and future. Your willingness to embrace and implement my ideas and creativity has allowed me to conduct research effectively, the right way as it should be done. I hope this experience has been rewarding for you as it has been for me. I am proud to say that I started during COVID lockdown, stuck across the border, but it allowed me to get to know growers in SA. Within 10 days, I executed a trial in Richard's Orchard in Bakery, who readily accepted to start my first trial in the orchard. I still remember those times fondly. Likewise, Simpfendorfers, Bob, Louis, and I can keep listing a lot, including Ian Moore. All the growers in South Australia contributed significantly to a strong start in my role. As the borders opened, other orchards were equally supportive and welcoming. The heavyweights, CME, Ryan, Pip, Phil and Kylite. I wish to thank Andrew, Matt, Naren and the crew for offering support and helping me execute a spraying at 3 o'clock in the morning. It was a wonderful experience to be out in the orchard at that time, which was as an opportunity to catch the glimpse of our wonderful galaxy. At this juncture, I also wish to thank Rob and Paul for the similar trial in Bakery. I wish to thank all the APPC staff for their immense help and support. Now into the 4th year, growers who came forward to accept the idea to install the sensors in 12 locations across the pistachio growing area regions, you guys have paved the way for some highly critical data, the importance and significance of which the wider industry is still getting to grips with. I am sure its value will be recognized in due course as it covers the extremes, Richard in the west, Anthony in the east, Harold in the north and Chrisley in the south, and Ian Moore, inland, isolation and everyone in between. With due respect, I wish to extend my gratitude to Chris Joyce, Trevor, Chris Lee, Prue, Brenda, and all the members of the Research and Executive Committee for the confidence they had in me. This allowed me to bring a lot of rapid and significant improvements and outcomes, especially in the first 2 years, from research, improving chill newsletters and benchmarking, to getting to know individual growers and their orchards. I am grateful to have had the honor of representing the pistachio industry, Australian pistachio industry on the global stage through my paper presentation in the US. That was within 1.5 years. So I'm happy and proud and thank you to the PGAI. It has been an absolute pleasure to fully apply my knowledge and experience gained through my study and career, along with my great passion for horticultural industry. It allowed me to truly spread my wings. I totally enjoyed my job and I wish you all the best and PGI the very best. I'm sure I'll be around. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Maha. That was an awesome presentation. And I haven't been with PJ for long, but I can see that you're an incredibly hard worker and have done, like even just looking at the benchmarking in the 2 newsletters, the 2 things that I've interacted with, I know there's been a lot of work in that, and you've done a lot for the industry. So thank you and wish you well. I'll just take us back to feedback. I'm going to look at my notes because otherwise I'll miss something. So it's really important that I get your feedback because I don't really know the industry yet, and I want to know what you want to learn about. I want to know what you thought of these sorts of events, whether like the food was good, the venue, the timing, those sorts of things are important to me. There's a short feedback survey. I won't pass just yet because I have some other things to say. I'll ask you for that. There's like 6 questions in there. There's a space for any questions that you didn't get to ask today that you are interested in getting an answer to on budding, and maybe I'll chase people up and see if we can get some answers and put them in the next newsletter. There's also on the wall over here, I just put 2 signs and there's some post-it notes. The first one is whether you have any suggestions for topics or for speakers. Maybe there's people that you've worked with that you think would be a benefit for the wider industry to hear from. Because I'm new, again, I'm just working through the networks of basically the R&D and the exec, but I know that everyone would have their own individual networks that would be great for the industry to draw on. The other thing is, if you want to host any future PIP meetings, feel free to write up your names and put a little post-it note on the wall, or just come and see me and I'll add you to just, I guess, a list that I can choose from in the next couple of years that we'll be working together. So QR code here, please scan with your phone, and if it doesn't work, there's some on the tables and near the back door as well. Like I said, it would just be really good to get your feedback. It's not a arbitrary thing for me. And I think probably what we're all waiting for is dinner. And we've got Fatty Boomba catering this week, I guess. I don't know if anyone's tried them, but it looks really fantastic. So we'll put that out, a couple salads, some vegetarian, vegan salads, and then pies and sausage rolls and quiches and stuff like that. So feedback survey first, quiches later. I'll put it out in 2 minutes.
I'll say one thing about the feedback. We actually have to do this as part of our funding obligation to Horticulture Innovation Australia. We need to report back on these. So it is actually part of our contractual requirements. So it's not just helpful, it's essential.
Make it sound really good.
Yeah, I know, but I can't stress it enough. We put these on because we have your voluntary contributions matched by taxpayer money. So we are accountable to yourselves, but we're also accountable to the taxpayer by Hort Innovation. So please, it's just a 5-minute thing, and that's part of kind of feedback that we need to get in order to keep these going.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you everyone so much for attending.